Welcome to That One Time in Business with me, your host, Casey Renee, a creative director and brand strategist who has 1,000,001 stories and lessons to share. Now remember, these are teachable moments with a twist and a laugh. So let's get started. Okay, so boom. Have you ever dealt with a client or potential client that says they need something ASAP? Rush orders, needed it yesterday, all that shit. So let me tell you about the one time in business where I worked with a lawyer and she needed her branding ASAP, i.e. yesterday, i.e. I need it. It's what is it, J.G. Wentworth?
It's my money and I need it now.
And how that shit did not turn out nor go as planned. Okay, so I have had a client and she was really about her business. She's a lawyer. Clearly, you don't think you're going to get anything else when working with them. Very professional. She knew what she wanted. Very direct. The emails were flowing. She paid the big start on time. But this sounds like great, right? Again, I always tell y'all, but how did we get to the podcast, Casey? The reason why she made it to the podcast is because her ASAP and her following directions to get to the finish line, it just was not coordinating. It wasn't coordinating when we started. Like she literally were creating her own hurdles. I've just never seen anything like it. You're off to the races and it's like you literally see her dragging in stuff that now she has to jump over that weren't even there. So she needed a logo for her law firm. And I'm like, okay, great. This is a great fit. This is something new. At this time, I had not worked with any lawyers. So I was like, I can add this to my repertoire and have it. So we start off, she onboards correctly and we're working. And she just kept saying, I need this ASAP. I need this ASAP. I need this ASAP. I can't remember. I'm not even going to sit here and lie. I can't remember what it was for. I don't think it was like a conference or anything. I think she just needed it to put on some like letterheads or something. Like she just needed to look professional from what I remember. So I'm like, okay, no problem. I got you. So I told her, I sat with her and had a consultation. I said, this is my process. However, we are going to expedite it by doing X, Y, and Z. So instead of you taking 3 days to tell me that you need your feedback for the logo, now you have 24 hours. And if you hit all of these checkpoints, then you'll have your logo in the amount of time. And when I tell you ASAP, I think we finished this logo in maybe 9-10 days, which it could have even went faster. However, her own hurdles. We were on target to literally start on a Monday and on a Friday. It could have been done. We still got it through, but it was a headache. Okay. So red flag number 1 is ASAP's needs it yesterdays. You have to really hone in on why. Now, I'm not saying people don't need things in a rush, but is this ASAP in your mind? Or is this ASAP you have to turn this into somebody? Because those are two totally different things. Because if it's ASAP in your mind, then we are not going to get where you need to go. If it's ASAP that you need to turn it into somebody, then we can adjust for it. And where I messed up, I'm going to tell you a lesson learned already. Where I messed up is when she told me what the ASAP was for, and she told me what it was for, I think we could have maybe created just something spelled out and then really honed in. Because this will end up happening, okay? So we start designing. We go through the first part, which is a mood board. She loved the mood board. I gave her 2 options. That's also a staple in my business. I give you 2 options. You pick which one you want to do. So she picked her option. Boom. Great. We're off to the races. So then this is where shit gets a little tricky. It gets stupid. So my process back then is not what it is now. Now for a client, after you choose your mood board, I create the whole design for you and just pitch you 2 solid concepts. I mock them up on things for you, just give you the works. She's one of the reasons why I now do this, because before I would take you through a process. I would sketch something and you look at the sketch. Then I would take it to the computer, you look at the computer. Then I would add color, you look at the color. You were just too involved. And I had to learn everybody is not that creative. Some people just need to see it as a whole. So user error, my fault, growth. So at this time, she I sent her the sketches. She approves it. She's like, "Hey, approved." I'm like, "Bet, we're going." Then we went to the comps, computer comps. Proved it. Boom. Listen to how I'm saying she approved it. Boom. She approved it. Boom. So I'm thinking where we need to be. So I finished the logo. She looks at me because this is Zoom. We were on Zoom. She looks at me dead in my face and goes, "Everything's approved." I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm going to now package your logo because we were about to be done." She, I can't, I think I still have the email. She looks at me, and she says to me, "Can we talk on the phone through the email?" She's like, "Can we talk on Zoom, whatever?" And I was like, "Yeah." She looks at me square in my face and says, "Yeah, I thought all those were just inspiration and examples." I said, "What?" She was like, "Yeah, inspirations of what my logo could be."
What are you talking about?
I said, "But I did it. It has your name, your business name on it. You approved it. I told you how the process goes." She was like, "Oh, I thought you were like we were doing a trial run. Like this is example of how it's supposed to be." And then I'm awaiting.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
What? I was so I was, and it's so funny because I was stuck. Like how I look now, you guys can't see it, but I really like if looks could kill, I'm a murderer now. Because I was like, "Bitch, what?" And I said, "So what's wrong with what I did?" She was like, "I don't know." And she did say it's not like it was a bad quality of work. I guess she just was lost in the process per se. So she was just like, "I don't know. I think I don't know. I don't know what I knew." And you don't know what you don't know. But I was like, "But you have to tell me. You have to say something. Does it look ugly? No." I said, "Did it go too quick and you felt like maybe it was going too fast that you didn't process what you were looking at? Because that's a real thing." She was like, "No." I'm like, "Then what the fuck? Like, what is going on?" And she could not, yo, when you own a business, first of all, you're a whole ass lawyer. So you have to learn to articulate something. I get it. I get it. I have some clients who are like, "I don't know till I see it." I'll deal with that. I hate that too, but fuck, if we have to deal with that, that's the, I mean, it's true because I do that too. I mean, I don't know till I see it, or we gotta really get rid of that. But I was like, "What is it?" She could not articulate it for the love of her. So I'm like, "I'm not starting over. Like, that's a double logo." I'm like, "I'm not starting over. And you told me you need this shit ASAP." So she was like, "Well, I'll just take it." Bitch, I'm not petty. What the fuck? You paid for it. I mean, it's yours. Like, and that's fine. She was like, "Yeah, I'll just take it." But then in the grand scheme of looking back, it makes me be like, because you don't know, it's like, what really went wrong? Like, what is the disconnect? She says it wasn't a bad design, but I'm like, then what the fuck was it? To this day, I still don't know what it was. I really don't. So we ended out, I sent her all the files. She said, "Thank you." Let me tell you, I know she's working with another designer right now. I think she found years later. She's like years later now working with somebody. And I think from what I'm seeing, I feel like that's a great fit for her where she's at. And I feel like she finally might have learned her why or what it is that she needed, because the process that I'm seeing her go through, I'm like, "Oh, this shit looks tight." You know what I'm saying? Like, do I hate her? No, I don't hate her as a client or anything. But there's a couple of things that I definitely learned. Okay. The first one that I learned is, again, the ASAPs. Why the ASAP? Okay. We went through that. The second thing that I also learned is make sure you really, really, really have to articulate your process to people, because it's like, I could tell you, but if you're unclear, so we, especially business owners, I know what we do because I'm like that too. We feel like we don't want to keep asking the same question over and over. Like, I don't get annoyed. I'd rather you ask me everything up front than put me in a situation. Then while we're doing it, I'm like, "Why the fuck you ain't ask me?" Um, but I get it. I'm the type of person, I'll walk into a store. If I'm looking for something in the store, I will lap the whole store twice before I ask somebody to be like, "Hey, where's such and such?" I don't know why. It's just me, because it's a thing. So I think she was trying to figure it out first, and it just kind of didn't go her way when it's like, just ask me. And I'm guilty of it. Ask me how this process really looks like. You could sit there when you work with somebody, ask, hey, I hear that this is your process, but can you show me an example of somebody's sketches that you then took to the computer that you found the way me saying this process back. I did so much extra work for no fucking I remember when I remember when I lost my mind. That's the song that they just came to my literally just came to my head. That shit is crazy. I was doing a lot of work. um, but yeah, so maybe saying, hey, I hear you, but what does this look like on paper? Like and how do you prefer feedback when you do give me these things? So that is something that I get that people struggle with. So I learned that to also offer it. Like, hey, do you need to see something? Or this is an example. So like now, the way I present it, I'll be like, hey, you wanted this. This is how I do it. Check out my Instagram. The reels that you see, that's exactly what I presented to them. Like I have a very clear cut. You're going to see it. You're going to hear it. What kind of learner are you? Okay. Also, I learned that I was a little bit of an asshole with that. Even though you don't mean to, I had to, again, I say this, you don't know what you don't know. We just talked about that. But I really was like, what? Like I was getting frustrated. I was getting so frustrated. However, again, if you ask me to fill out a form, like when I was doing like taxes or like doing something, I promise you, I will look at a form and the form, it'll be in English, but I promise I'm reading Spanish or gibberish. Like I'm like, what is this? And it could literally say name. So you could even highlight the fields that I need to complete. And I still will have fucking questions about the form because I don't want to fuck it up. And I think that I would be upset if somebody got an attitude with me. You know what I'm saying? But also this is why I lapped the fucking store twice too. But anyway, so I'm trying to be mindful not to be petty when somebody doesn't know something because that probably felt off-putting. Like I came to you, I trusted your expertise. I told you ASAP, you told me you could deliver. But I'm still stuck on what you thought the fuck I was showing you. Like, what did you think this was? I digress. So yeah, so that's another thing that I had learned with it. I know personally, I just needed to do better, hence why I came up with the new system in place for working with her. Also, I need to ask more questions for those, like I just said, for those who are unsure. It's just kind of like when you go to a doctor's office, is there anything else you have questions about? Okay, this part in the form. But like you really have to hone in and ask these questions. So I will eat that as well. Um, I do think, and we spoke about this in a previous podcast about liaisons. The ASAP of it, I think if she had a liaison with it, even though she needed it ASAP, I think it could have kind of been a buffer towards what she was getting, her expectations, and just somebody else putting their eyes on it. Because I have also learned in situations where you need it yesterday. How do I say this? I saw a TikTok, and I always go to TikTok because that's my shit. I saw a TikTok where a man, he said, you have three options: cheap, fast, or basic quality. And you can pick two things because you can't have all of them. There's no way you're going to get it fast and quality and it's going to be cheap. There's no way it could be cheap and fast and it's going to be quality. So these are things that you have to think. And I live by that because I think she probably put all her eggs. I mean, it was good quality. I'm not down on myself. But I think she put her eggs in her baskets of a full-on strategy expectation. And this is what happens when you also say ASAP. So I think maybe if she had somebody as a buffer to kind of be like, hey, this is what you said you needed. This is what you got. This works. Maybe if X, Y, Z needs to happen later. Because what the fuck did you think it would? What did you think it was supposed to be?
I'm confused. I'm confused right now, G.
Part of me really wants her to hear this and her email me and be like, okay, so this is what I thought. But then a part of me does not, I never want the subjects to listen. I mean, if it happens, it happens. But I just be so confused. So anyway, I know this is a nice and short and sweet episode for you here because the lesson is very, very clear. If you need something ASAP, please have all your ducks in a row. Make sure that you understand the processes that somebody is taking you through and understand that if we're going to do it ASAP, do not add any goddamn hurdles to the ASAP. Let us get it done in our process the way that we know how to so we can accommodate you, okay? And what you get, you still, for me, I'm still going to give you the best that I got, but let's make it make sense, okay? And if you have any fucking questions, ask me in the beginning, okay? And to you, I am proud of you, and this is not going to be a mean one because I see she has it figured out now. Go me, growth on my end in this podcast. So for you, I'm proud that you got it figured out. Kudos to you, shout out to you, and I see you actually thriving.
I'm proud of you, you know that. I hope you do.
So there's no ill song that Victor is going to attach to this exit. Okay, bye. So did you enjoy the gems I dropped today or feel normalized after you push play? Well, feel free to like, subscribe, and share that One Time in Business with me, your host, Casey Renee. Now remember, we are all in this crazy shit together.